They don't know that I lost more people in World War II than the UK, the US, and France combined. That's Indonesia. I didn't know that. This chart shows them as the country that suffered the 4th most casualties, only surpassed by Poland, China, and the Soviet Union. I can see how this fact got lost though, just considering when you compare that to the Soviet Union and China, it's still very little, but considering they lost double more than Japan themselves, that's insane. Obviously, almost 100% of Indonesian lands were occupied by the Japanese, and as many of you guys know, the Japanese were awfully brutal. Interestingly, when looking at the Allies Wikipedia page for all the Allied members, Indonesia is not technically here. And that is because they were technically under the Dutch Empire or the Netherlands, but I still feel like they should be included in this Wikipedia box. No cap, General. The situation is not bussin' at all. We full-sended the napalm, dead ass. The Viet Cong ate it, kinda sus. Now they're slapping for real, for real. Oh yeah, don't forget to say over. Imagine Gen Z in the Vietnam War. I don't know if they're gonna be able to recreate this, but with a vape. Viet Cong not been sticking out their gyats for us Rizzlers. Oh my god, I want to throw myself off a bridge. People in their 30s, let's invest in a new house. Caesar in his 30s. At my age, you had achieved so much. Who will remember me as he looks at a statue of Alexander the Great? I love showing off these memes. I love bringing up these memes in real life. So many people worry that they haven't done enough at a young enough age. But bruh, there are countless examples of history of people really not doing anything until like their 40s or 50s. The first person to swim from Cuba to Florida was a 64-year-old lady. So anything is possible. Should say the first person to swim without the use of a shark cage. Guys, stop giving World War II spoilers. I'm still reading about the Industrial Revolution. Sometimes I forget that these memes are actually real for some people, especially if you're young enough and you're still learning about everything in history through your school. I could see myself also being pretty mad about World War II spoilers in like the 3rd grade. Oh, you ruined it! When your longtime Cold War enemy suddenly collapses after 69 years because they literally bankrupted themselves trying to compete with you. It's kind of funny how that whole thing ended. And with all things said and done though, 69 years is not a bad run. We despise all communism here. Except, of course, oh yeah, Tito is the only exception. A lot of people say he single-handedly kept Yugoslavia alive because as soon as he passed away, the country just exploded. Although I have been reading a lot about the way he was handling the economy at that time. IMF loan. I just really don't know. You can't just declare a war on Japan after a nuclear bomb. Meanwhile, the USSR, not even gonna listen to that. It's actually a really interesting point here. They officially declared war on the Japanese August 8th, 1945, exactly 2 days after Hiroshima, 1 day before Nagasaki. So there's still this massive debate on if the Japanese surrendered because of the bombs or just because of the Soviet invasion. I mean, all things considered, it was more than likely both, but it's interesting to debate what could have been more of the reason. The Aztecs in fiction. Booga booga, I'm gonna sacrifice you to my gods. No, you can't do that, that's barbaric. Meanwhile, the Aztecs in reality. Would you like to visit our highly developed cities? We also have aqueducts. Oh, cool. And we also sacrifice humans to our gods. Wait, what? Both things can absolutely be true. How else do you think they got these highly developed cities with aqueducts? The gods were pretty pleased with all these human sacrifices, maybe. It's funny how different regions of the world have like a certain historical point that everyone still debates about. For the US and maybe a lot of European countries, I don't know, a big historical topic of debate is like who contributed more to World War II. But then you have Latin America and Spain, specifically Mexico, that are always debating about the Aztec Empire and the conquistadors and who was wrong, who was justified. It's all just a mess. I'd imagine the Italians probably focus on just who was the best Caesar or something. Rome be like founded by Romulus, ended with Romulus. Then Eastern Rome be like founded by Constantine, ended with Constantine. As always, history comes full circle, weirdly. In this case, it was really direct. What are the chances of the first and last leaders having the same names? What fashion companies want to sell to men versus what men really want to wear? You best believe I would be pulling up to the function looking like this if I had the opportunity. Oh, we're going out tonight with the boys? Let me get my tunic and sandals first. Chinese people inventing all modern technology in 10,000 BC, only to keep it a secret for thousands of years. Well, it is a good idea to keep it a secret because, you know, once the secret gets out, everyone's gonna get it. I can see what they were trying to do. What if ancient Egypt actually got religion right and now Horus has just been watching in shock as we go more and more off track? He's just like, bruh, chill. You got the answer right in the first second. Imagine if we did all go back to just believing in this. What would that mean for the card game Yu-Gi-Oh? Does it become like the Bible? The human sacrifice will stop, says Ukraine to Russia. This is very funny because we were just talking about the Aztecs and conquistadors. But in this context, they're saying that Putin, I guess, is doing his own form of human sacrifice by sacrificing the Russians in this Ukrainian invasion. I guess that's why the Ukrainians had to enter Kursk. I'm about to go go 1 kilometer in Russia without a visa. I just went 40 kilometers into Russia without a visa. These blokes just went 5,500 kilometers into Russia without a visa. From their secret Tsarist, imperialists, and tankies despise them. Now the good old Czechia vacation through the Russian Empire. Man, I wish I was them. Good time to mention that Russia actually lost a naval battle to a landlocked country. Virgin nuclear de-escalation. Oh, nukes are bad. We have to bow to nuclear saber rattling. Chad, I freaking dare you. Within 10 years, we shall have the means to oof 80 million Russians. I truly believe someone does not attack another nation with the power to oof 80 million people. That's literally France's ideas. That was their nuclear policy. Crazy. Meanwhile, China's nuclear policy. The Chinese people are not to be cowed by U.S. atomic blackmail. Our country has a populace of 600 million and an area of almost 10 million square miles, kilometers. The United States cannot annihilate the Chinese nation with its small stack of atomic bombs, even if the U.S. atom bombs were so powerful that when dropped on China, they would make a hole right through the earth. Holy crap, Mao, he just didn't care. Mao's not even arguing here that, like, he would retaliate. Like, the French say we're gonna nuke you into oblivion. Mao's just like, nuke us. I don't care. We won't react, and we're gonna be fine. This kind of changes some context about the whole Douglas MacArthur wanting to nuke the Korean Peninsula into oblivion. Maybe China wouldn't have cared. I don't know. French adding Christians. They're also adding the Druze. Not me, but different Druze. The French now adding the Sunnis. Oh no, now the Shiites. Oh my goodness, I've done it. They've created Lebanon. What a fascinatingly diverse nation, especially in the region they're located in. Lebanon is the French's social experiment, and you can't convince me otherwise. This Frenchman might be one of the funniest things we've done, not gonna lie. Just, yeah, it would not be fun to be involved. There's no better example of just a little bit of trolling than Europeans drawing borders. I just hope we won't let them do that anymore. Hungarians to Romanians, you have no history. Meanwhile, just a fraction of Romania's history, obviously having one of the most famous figures in history, fighting the Romans, defeating the Golden Horde of Moldova, have always regained Transylvania. It's actually pretty interesting. They've been through a lot. Here they come, comrades. Open fire.
Don't shoot. I'm Chinese.
Chinese American, that is. Let's go. Basically be this man. The first Asian American officer in the Marine Corps. He was the only person of Asian ancestry that many Marines had ever met, and they questioned if he'd actually be able to oof Chinese soldiers. He went out alone firing sporadic shots to make it seem like the Marines were advancing. At one point, he called out in Mandarin in an attempt to confuse the enemy. Don't shoot, I'm Chinese. Oh my god. And then attacked with hand grenades and gunfire. He was wounded in the knee and was shot in the right elbow by a sniper. Suddenly pinned down by enemy fire, his battalion charged. With his right arm still in cast, shoots 2 enemy soldiers. The enemy soldiers were over 400 yards away en route. Some say this is the worst branch of service. They're the first in, the first out, but that's where I want to be. That's a quote that he said, I guess. Holy crap, I never knew this story. That is so based. Damn. This is why I love reviewing history memes. What a complete legend. The biggest Chad in Chinese history. Hi, Dad. Meet my husband. He's the Emperor of China. Here's the Chad in question, I guess. Hi, Dad. Meet my husband. He's also the Emperor of China. Here's the Chad in question again. Oh, the first one died. Hi, Dad. Meet my husband. He's the Emperor of China. The other two, oh, how many? Chad. That would be our son right here. Again, Chad. What? Hold on, I need some more background information. Basically, the Emperor of these places are all related because of one man, this guy. He had more than 3 daughters, but 3 very important daughters that ended up bringing the dynasties and leaders together. Must have been cool to watch all this unfold before his eyes. Genghis Khan being 1.69 meters tall, looking down at Napoleon, who was also 1.69 meters tall. They were the same height. I could see where people were confused. I mean, I'm assuming Genghis was always on top of a horse. I mean, obviously Napoleon rode horses as well, but maybe he's not traditionally known for always on a horse. I don't know if we actually know his height though. That might be the claim. It would not surprise me. Shout out to all the emperors that expanded rapidly because of a bonkers ruler and then instantly collapsed. Like the French Empire with Napoleon, the Nano-Germans with the skinny mustache man, Alexander the Great. This gotta be one of my favorite genders. And it's funny because their empire exploded, but they left such a massive impact on history. All within like a very fast amount of time, all things considered. Modern history buffs be like, you could have started the Industrial Revolution centuries earlier. Meanwhile, 16th century Turks just using steam power for their, yeah, I've been hearing about that. I wonder what Ted Kaczynski would think about this. I guess someone could ask him. Can't imagine what the world would be like if Turkey wasn't out here just trying to eat. Then again, that's a noble thing. They was just trying to grow up. This is my neighbor. This is Republic of Turkey. He is pain in my butt. Geographically speaking, Turkey has a lot of neighbors, which means Turkey also has a lot of rivals, I guess. And man, have I definitely noticed this. When I'm playing like a multiplayer strategy game and I play as the Ottomans or Turkey, I am always singled out and attacked. And this kind of explains why they've got enemies enemies in Serbia, Greece, Romania, Iraq, Iran, the EU, Egypt, Bulgaria, Georgia, Saudi Arabia, NATO, Israel, Russia, Armenia. It just doesn't stop. And what's funny is, yeah, they probably forgot a couple. Rome meets a new neighboring culture. Rome's relationship breaks down with the new neighbors. Rome conquers a new neighbor in self-defense. Rome expands its borders. They didn't want to have to oof you, but you gave them no other option. At least they tried to be diplomatic in the very beginning. I'm sure that was not always the case. But it's funny to present it like that. Romans loved peace so much that they always aggressively pursued it. Have they tried making a buffer state using Eastern Bloc area? Be me! Be British bureaucrat? Be in charge of colony. Colony has religious divide. Region important to both religions. 2/3 majority religion, 1/3 minority religion. Majority considers minority interlopers. This causes riots. Minority advocates for its own state. Majority doesn't. This causes riots. Minority supports colonizers during World War II. Majority doesn't. This causes riots. Empire can't handle empire anymore after World War II. It's 1947. Independence can actually happen now. But who gets what? Make a partition plan. 2 countries based on 2 religions. Made to satisfy everybody. Satisfies nobody. This causes riots. What a surprise. People of the wrong religion flee to the other country. War breaks out. War ends inconclusively. Over decades, new wars happen intermittently. No end to conflict in sight. Poor India, Pakistan. Pick unrelated. I have to say, I knew that this was going to have a twist because I reviewed a meme like this similarly. Also with Israel. So yes, the similarities between Israel and Palestine and also India and Pakistan. Which now that I'm realizing is kind of funny because they both start with I and P. It's kind of weird. And then India apparently is a big supporter of Israel. I wonder if that's part of the reason why they can relate. Holy crap, didn't even think about that. This actually put things in a really interesting perspective. Big thanks to my patrons this month. I tried to kidnap Drew again, but he put me in his basement. Help. Drew's Argentinian Grandpa. I can't sleep without Drew's voice. Nord, Tyler, Archaeology, aPhatNarwhal, Carmel,
Sarsath,
Pavlik, DaBeautiful-MEGAN-Underwood,
Fredrik
Tibblin,
JohnDenver,
KansasWasMentioned, KingBearHaze, LuxembourgLover,
the
sebby. If you hear this, I